Hi and welcome to Trig Formulas Day 2. Today we're going to be talking about the double angle formulas, which is just twice the angle. For the sine of 2a, it's equal to 2 sine a cosine a. For the cosine of 2a, we have three options that we can use, three different formulas, and you will get the same answer no matter which formula you choose. So it depends on the problem which one you would use. And finally, we have the tangent of a double angle and the formula that we would need. Okay, so some examples. Show that the cosine of 270 degrees show the cosine of 270 degrees using the cosine of 2 times 135 degrees. Well, in order to do this, we're going to actually need draw our reference angle. And if we are at 135 degrees, we are in quadrant 2. This is 135. So that means that this is 45. And that is 45. So our sides are going to be 1, 1, and radical 2. So that's hard to see. Hang on. Let me try that again. Because that was 135. And that would be a negative because it's going in the negative direction. All right, we're going to need that in order to do this. I have the cosine of 2a, a being 135, and I'm going to show you that it doesn't matter which cosine formula you use. So we're going to use all three cosine formulas. So the cosine of 2a is equal to cosine squared a minus sine squared a. That is not the Pythagorean identity because the Pythagorean identity is plus and it's equal to 1. So it looks similar, but it's not exactly the same. A is 135 degrees. So looking at our right triangle, the cosine of A is adjacent over hypotenuse. So it's negative 1 over radical 2, which is negative radical 2 over 2. And then we have to square the whole thing. Minus, excuse me, the sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so that's 1 over radical 2, which is radical 2 over 2 squared. So when I square negative radical 2 over 2, I will get 2/4 minus another 2/4, which is equal to 0. And next, we're going to use the next formula down, which is 2 cosine squared a minus 1. Well, we already determined that the cosine of a, which is 135 in this case, is going to be negative radical 2 over 2. So it's 2 times negative radical 2 over 2 squared is going to be 2/4 minus 1. And I will get 4/4 minus 1, which is just 1 minus 1, which is 0. And the last formula is 1 minus 2 sine squared a. So it's 1 minus 2. Sine of 135 is radical 2 over 2, because that has not changed. And we have to square that. So 1 minus 2 times, well, radical 2 over 2 squared is 2/4. So 1 minus 4 over 4, so that is 0. And you should also know that the cosine of 270, if we look back at our unit circle or we look back at our graphs at 270, we are at 0. So all three of these formulas show us that the cosine of 270 is equal to 0, using other things than what we already know. All right, for number 2. If the cosine of A is equal to negative 5/13, angle A is in quadrant 2, find the sine of 2A. Well, we are in quadrant 2, and this is angle A. Cosine is adjacent, 5/13. My other side is 12. The 5 is negative. And the sine of 2A is equal to 2 sine A cosine A. I know what the cosine is, so I have to find the sine. So sine of A is opposite of our hypotenuse, so it's 12/13. So we have 2 times 12/13 times the cosine of A was negative 5/13. So this is just a 2/1, so 2 times 12 times negative 5. Well, 12 times 5 is negative 60, negative 5, so negative 60 times 2 is a negative 120, and 13 times 13 times 1 is 169. So it's a negative 120/169. For sine, we only had one choice of formulas, so that's all we can do. All right, put this on here so we can see. The sine of theta is equal to 4/5. Theta is a positive acute angle. Positive acute angle means I have to be in quadrant 1. Find tangent of 2 theta. Well, the tangent of 2 theta requires me to have the tangent of the angle. This is theta. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So that makes this side 3. And then the tangent of theta is opposite over adjacent, so 4/3. And my formula of tangent of 2 theta is 2 tan theta over 1 minus tan squared theta. So it's 2 times 4/3 over 1 minus 4/3 squared. So I'll have 8/3 over 1 minus 16/9, because I square that. Easiest thing to do here is find our LCD, which is 9. Oh, hang on. So multiply top and bottom, well, every part by 9. 3 cancels with 9, becomes a 3. So I have 24/9 minus 16. 9 minus 16 is negative 7. So it's a negative 24/7 for our answer. Last one. Cosine x equals negative 12/13. Angle x is in quadrant 3. Find the cosine of 2x. Well, I have 3 choices to choose from. I'm given what the cosine is equal to. Since I'm given what the cosine is equal to, I'm going to use the formula that only has cosine. That way I don't have to draw my triangle and find any other values. So I do have a formula for cosine of 2x, which would be equal to 2 cosine squared x minus 1. So I have 2 times negative 12 over 13 squared minus 1. So I have 2 times, well, negative 12 13 squared is 144, positive 144 over 169 minus 1. Well, 2 times 144 is 288 over 169 minus 1. Common denominator is 169, so I'm just going to put 169 over 169. And when I subtract, I will get 119 over 169. And that is my final answer. So the double angles are a little bit easier than the sum and difference of two angles. Just because the formulas, you're only looking at one triangle, you'll never have two triangles that you'll have to worry about substituting in. So that's it for today.